You know, so for the windows, passenger windows I'm talking about here, I went ahead and I'm going to go ahead and just use the cardstock that came with the kit. These are the printed cardstock windows. They were on this sheet, and now they're on this airplane. And I've put over that a coating of sand and seal. In fact, the whole aircraft has gotten one complete coating of the deluxe sand and seal right over the top. You know, you have to be careful you're not laying buildup onto one side or the other. It catches on the, the paper, so you want to draw the brush across in both directions, just where your windows are, and then smooth that out, and then come back as the brush has lost most of its. Once you spread most of the material elsewhere, you come back just with the wetted brush. It's not full of material, full of sand and seal. It's just wet with it, and then you just kind of go over the top one last time to make sure there is no built-up edge on any of these. Anyway, that's what I want to do. That's what I do. Your results may vary. Your opinion may be different, and even treating it with the cardstock. So I have a couple of options yet still open to me with this. And you see I've drawn the crew door onto the fuselage here. Now I'll stop the camera. Hazards of the job. So you can see the crew doors here. Now I did make it a little bit oversized. I thought, and this was the template I used. So what I thought was, well, let's since we're just checking things out and looking at stuff, let's make it a little bit oversized and position it in such a way as according to the the drawing, this is about where it should be. It's a little higher than it ought to be, and it's a little wider than it ought to be. My point is, when you want to check out your dimensions on different things, such as a drawn in feature or even a cut feature, you want to draw it on first to the natural wood before you get the primer on, and that way you can kind of get an idea of it. You can live with it for a day or two. So as I'm looking at this, I'm realizing that it is a little too big and it is a little too high. So once I get the primer onto the airplane and spray over this, I'll shorten this up, make it just about 1/8 of an inch skinnier than it is, and recut it, and then that's the one I'll use to draw the actual line. Right. So we'll do it again after the primer's on. And then once I get all the top coat and all the color and all the, all of that on, I'll draw it on again. And then at that point we can add the clear coat and go with that. So this is just a way, like I said, where you can get a sense of something for a day or two, get a feel for it. Best to, if you're going to do, be drawing different things onto the airplane or cutting in different things. First draw them out using your template onto the unfinished wood, or the minimally finished wood. This obviously has the sand and seal on it, but it's essentially the bare wood when no paint's been applied to it. And that way you're not drawing and redrawing an image over top of itself every time. If I wait till after I get the primer on and then I draw it on there and I don't like it, I'm kind of I'm not stuck with it, but I think this is a better way. Once I get the primer on and I've cut that template down a little bit, I'll draw it onto the primer finish, and then get a sense of that for a day or two and see whether we like it or not. And then again, if we don't like it, well, then once I get all the colors on, I can trim this down again, or redraw it a little bigger, whatever it needs. I can do that at that point, and then we'll draw on the final version. Draw it on over the paint at the end. So anyway, windows are on. They're pretty much aligned. Best I could do. I didn't want to draw anything on the airplane for that. I just used the stringer here and just aligned everything at the bottom of that stringer. It was straight. It was a good line, so we went with that one. And that puts us just the right height above the wing fairing here. And the spread is about right. I just used a window to separate them. So align a window, put a dry one here to align where the next one would go, and so on. So they're just one window space apart is what I'm basically saying. All right, so there's all of that, and that's the current status of our build right now. The next steps will be to mask off probably just the light gray portion, just a square of tape to cover just the lighter portion, leaving the outer frames exposed. Once those are masked off, I can probably begin shooting the primer on. And once we get the primer on it, then I'll be able to do a last check on the surface. Make sure the surface looks right. And we don't have any dimples or deficits or any raised areas that need to be addressed before we start shooting color. All right, thanks for watching. Have a great day.